Hi, my name's Makayla and welcome back to Huckleberry. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this dress. So it started out that I wanted to try to make the dress from the Essentials Club, which was a gathered self-drafted dress. And I started out trying to self-draft, which I've never done before. And as I got into it, I quickly realized that it was not going to work out.
People sit on the little...
After a bunch of trial and error, I decided to take some inspiration from Maddie over at the Essentials Club. I'll leave her channel linked down below because I really like her tutorials and her design. Anyway, I picked out a few patterns that I had on hand and pieced them together to create a similar tie-back gathered dress. So the top of this dress is from the Cora pattern from fabricstore.com, and the bottom portion of this dress is the top two tiers of the Julia skirt that is their purchase pattern on fabricstore.com. So what I did was I took the top piece from the Cora dress, and instead of cutting out the front and back like the Cora pattern has, I hacked the pattern a little bit to create the tie-back effect that Maddie does in her gathered dress. So what I did was I used the front bodice piece twice, and I slightly cropped the length of the bodice because I wanted the skirt to sit a little higher, and I also cut the neckline the same throughout the front of the dress and the back of the dress, so that it would be able to fit over my head and be very loose fitting. Then when I went to cut out the back of the dress, I used the front bodice piece, but instead of cutting it on the fold, I cut two separate pieces and used those as my two halves for my tie back. So each piece I ended up cutting 2 layers of, like Maddie in the Essentials Club did, just to give a lined effect on the top so that it's not see-through, and then also to have the perfect ability to match the ties that I made. Now, Maddie made her tie ribbons by turning them inside out, sewing them, and then pushing them through with a paintbrush. That really didn't work for me, and it frustrated me quite a bit. So I ended up making them a different way. I don't mind the stitching being on the outside of the ribbon, so what I did was I just cut the same length of strips, but I folded them in like I would bias tape. Just folded each side in to meet in the middle, and then I folded that in half and stitched on the outside. I stitched all along the outside and then closed one end in by tucking the ends in and left the other a raw edge to be sandwiched between the two back pieces. This worked out really well for me, and it was a lot quicker and a lot less headache than trying to turn little tubes of fabric inside out. I'm not a huge fan of that. So once I got the top piece done and the bodice complete, I did the skirt multiple times. I attached the top tier first and I put pockets in the sides. The pockets are from the cast pattern on fabricstore.com. It's not actually from the skirt or the dress pattern, but every skirt or dress that I make, I have to have pockets. I just love pockets and they're functional, so I ended up putting the pockets in on the top skirt pattern, and I did that by zigzag stitching each pattern piece for the pocket, and then I pinned the pockets to the outsides of the skirts and sewed those in place, and then I pinned the outside of the skirts with the right sides facing together all along the edge of the skirt and the edge of the pockets. Then once I attached the skirt to the bodice, I was ready for the second tier. Now the second tier took me a while because I just couldn't get it to rest correctly on my hips. It kept looking like it was too wide and made my hips look a lot larger than they are. It just wasn't flattering. So the first go around I had tried to create the gathers on my own in an effort to save on thread, but in reality I actually wasted more thread this way because I had to rip out what I did so many times. So pro tip, I know it's a long process and it wastes thread, but in reality you'll save thread if you just use a long gathering stitch on your machine, because that will allow the gathers to be more natural and not be puckered out in weird places. So once I finally ripped that out, I put it in with a long gathered stitch. I pulled the threads tight so that everything bunched up to the length of the skirt tier that I was attaching to. And after that, it was pretty simple. I just top stitched the skirt pieces, and then I went ahead and hemmed the sleeves and the skirt by folding in the edges about 1/4 inch and then 1/2 inch, which gave me this half sleeve effect. I usually like my sleeves folded up a little bit more, so often I'll just take them and fold it myself, but I like the option of having a little bit of a longer sleeve just to give myself a different look. So it's up to you and your preference. You could always cut the sleeve a little shorter if you wanted to do it. But I really love how this dress turned out. This dress could actually be reversible if I had like a bandeau top or a tank or something underneath, and I can wear it reversed with the ties in the front, which is really nice. I'm so thankful for Maddie's tutorial over at the Essentials Club for inspiring me to try my own hand at making a dress like this. So if this tutorial is inspiring to you, or you like to see people create things, or want to create your own things, give this video a like and be sure to subscribe for more sewing tutorials, sustainable slow living habits, and behind the brand here at Huckleberry Bonnets Co. This dress is so comfortable and it's a perfect everyday just toss it over your head dress. I love the gathers, it just makes it feel a little bit fancy. And I've left all of the patterns linked down below in case you want to try your hand at creating this pattern hack yourself. I hope you have a wonderful day and thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.